These are the top 5 biggest mistakes so many golfers make with their driver. Hi everyone, my name is James and welcome back to Get Good at Golf. On this channel we aim to help you get good at golf just one day at a time. So in today's video we are talking driver, and it is certainly that time of year, especially in the UK as you can see, where so many golfers are thinking, you know what, how can I improve my game moving forward into 2023? And most importantly, how can I hit longer drives so I can outdrive my friends, shoot better scores and lower my handicap? So one of the first things that I see so many people get wrong with a driver is how they hold it. The grip is the only point of contact you have with that golf club, so it is imperative that we get that correct. Now the grip can be wrong in two different ways. The first way is how you actually hold the club. So if I have my left hand on top of my right here, you'll see that that actually isn't going to work too well for us, because on the way through, if those hands neutralise, that club face tends to close. If I have it the other way and I have the right hand on top, this is the one that so many people see where they hit the ball out to the right, the hands neutralise, and look what happens to that club face. If we hit that golf ball, that is only going to go one way. A big horrible shot out to the right, and so many golfers say, James, I really struggle hitting it out to the right. Please, please, please help me stop hitting my driver to the right. Then they grip the club like that and you go, you know what, this may be the easiest golf lesson you've ever had and I've ever given. Club face control is vital when it comes to driver, because we have such little loft on there. We need to control that loft where it's pointing at impact. The other way you can get the grip wrong is if you grip the club too tight. This means you are not going to be able to set the club as you want to on the way back. That not only is going to restrict distance, you can see I can hit a nice little straight shot there, but there was no real lever system, there was no real release, there was no real speed. And the one thing we want to do with a driver is introduce speed into the equation, especially if you're spending upwards of 300, 400, 500 pounds on your driver. So this is something that we've covered quite a lot here on Get Good at Golf, and guys, we have loads of great tips coming up for you in this video, so make sure you stay tuned and subscribe if you want to see the other top 4 tips that people get wrong. But the key here is just to have a nice loose grip pressure, so I can feel the weight of that club, I can set the club on the way back, and I can generally hit a nice long straight drive like that. Guys, that is the first thing that I see that people get wrong so often. What is the second one?
So guys, the second point is exactly what James has just done there. We are looking at tee height. So this tee down here, the yellow tee, is even higher than the blue one that you've just gone through, and it's picking the right tee shot for you. So you need to know how you attack the ball. So do you hit down on the golf ball? Do you hit up on the golf ball? Where do we want it to be to suit you to get more centered strikes? For instance, this ball right here, for me, I instantly stood over that and thought, that looks a lot too high. That looks way too much above the driver head. For me, that's not giving me confidence. Somebody might have told you, okay, yeah, you need to get the ball nice and high so you hit up on the ball. But if you have a downward angle of attack, I'll not do it because James will not be happy. If I have a downward angle of attack, I'm going to go straight under that golf ball. It's going to hit the roof of your driver, and we're going to get one of those dreaded marks on your 400-500 pound driver.
I'd really rather not do it on my TaylorMade Stealth as well, if I'm being brutally honest.
No, so we're not going to hit that ball, so you've got to think, I might hit a little bit down on that, I don't feel confident over the golf ball, so I'm not going to use that kind of tee height. So when you come to the range, you will more than likely have the different tee heights. I know a lot of people like to put their own tee in, but think about that, guys. That's going to dictate where you hit it on the face. If it is too high, we're going to hit it off the top. If it's too low, we're often going to hit it on the bottom. We might even top the ball. So if you are somebody who consistently tops it on the driving range, think about that tee height. It might actually be too small because we're hitting the bottom of the face. We're hitting here because we're hitting a little bit up on the golf ball, and then we're never going to get the distance or the strike that we want. So for me, I'm going to go and I'm going to change this nice and easy to the green tee, which is a little bit more inviting.
Is it nice and easy though? Anyone who's ever been to a driving range in their life knows that this is the hardest thing in the world.
So there you go, straight out, green
I'll
in.
tell you what.
Coming in now, looks much more friendly, looks a lot more inviting to me. Now I can take my setup and feel confident that I'm going to get the correct strike on that. And that's the main thing, we're trying to make sure that we get that centered strike. We can then set up. I'd like James to stand there, but I don't want to hit him. So James can now come round. I can be nice and comfortable here.
That's a great tee shot.
I wish you could see that in that light, because that was a fantastic
Shot trace, we'll have that, mate, don't you worry.
So, nice and centred. I felt very comfortable over that. It was much more inviting than it was from the yellow tee. So if you do go to your range, I know a lot of times you can go and ask behind the counter and get different tee options. Don't just use one, because you're not going to get any confidence. You're not going to strike your driver any better. And that is tip number 2.
So you are gripping the club correctly, you are not gripping it strong, not gripping it weak, you are not gripping it too firm, and you now have the correct tee height, both in practice and when you play golf out on the course. It's really important to practice how you want to play, but you are taking the club away totally wrong. This is something which, again, when I give a lot of lessons, so many golfers get wrong, and it's the most frustrating thing in the world, because people have been to buy a new driver, they've been to get fitted for the driver, you've made sure you've got exactly the right shaft flex, exactly the right shaft weight, exactly the right shaft torsional stiffness, and not to mention the right loft on this driver. But as soon as you step into the ball, you pick the driver up like this. You're thinking, I want to get this driver head as high as physically possible, as quick as physically possible. The ideal scenario here is we keep the driver head as low as physically possible for as long as physically possible. Guys, if you can remember that saying, you will play better golf, I guarantee it. So take the club away as low to the mat as possible. We actually gave you a drill a couple of days ago, guys, here on Get Good at Golf. So you can see here we've got a ball behind the driver head, and all I'm thinking is, can I roll that ball back? And you'll see here that my driver head is as far away from my sternum as it can be. I've not gone away here, I've not slided away from the ball, but I'm making sure I'm rotating my body and letting that drive head get nice and wide. If I can do that, that gives me a longer lever system here, which is generally going to give us more club head speed. More club head speed should result in more ball speed if we hit the middle of the club face, which we're going to give you a tip to do in just a second. But that longer takeaway is essentially going to help you hit much longer drives. I was really worried I was going to hit you then.
I was as well. So is that a swing that you see often? I often see that when lessons come in, guys. The backswing.
You couldn't do that seriously, could you?
No, I couldn't do that seriously. But the backswing's faster than the downswing, so they put a lot of effort. They're trying to hit this club as far as possible, so they instantly think, right, well, if I get my backswing faster, I'm going to obviously hit it further. By the time they've got it fast, they're not sure where this club head is. They've probably picked the hands up like James mentioned earlier, and then they're all out of sync. They don't time it correctly. The body then comes over the top. We close the face down. You put all the effort into the backswing, and then we've got no timing or rhythm coming down into the golf ball. We need the speed in this part, so from here, which is down into impact, we need all the speed down in this area, not on the backswing. So I want you to think that we're going to give yourself a longer backswing, feel like you've got more time in the backswing. That's going to give you more time to actually turn the body, and then from there we can then sequence correctly. The club will actually drop a little bit behind, and then the final bit is releasing those hands down through the impact zone. So you need to think about that. Give yourself more time in the backswing, and that doesn't mean stand here and go like this. I hope James put this in slow-mo on the edit. We don't need to do that. We want to be pretty slow.
I'm just thinking you just scared the ball machine off.
Ball machine.
This is everyone's favourite part of these videos.
Yeah,
that is a machine that collects the balls, yes.
And the grass cutter is retired over there somewhere. Right, so we're just going to think, right, I give myself that little bit more time. So even in your head, if you count to maybe 3 in your backswing, so you're going to go, obviously, in your head, you'll be 1, 2, 3, and then we're down into that. And that's 2 of the best drives of it in a long time.
I'm going to say, yeah.
So again, I've given myself more time. I can turn the body, I can load into my right-hand side, and then we can use the speed on the way down in transition. So guys, that's tip number 4. Give yourself more time in the backswing. And James is going to give you the 5th and final bonus point.
And this is a humdinger, Chris, because this could save you a fortune. So the 5th and final tip on this video, guys, is make sure you subscribe to Get Good at Golf. I'm only joking, but if you are not subscribed yet, guys, make sure you do. It's make sure you buy the correct driver. If you go and spend so much money on your driver, $500, $600, we've just been to the States and we could not believe how expensive golf clubs are for our friends over in America. A lot of you guys who watch are from the States. If you are, guys, throw us a like on this video because we really appreciate all the support. But if you go and buy a driver off the rack, which again, so many people seem to be doing, you could well be wasting your money. I mentioned earlier about shaft flex, about torsional stiffness, shaft weight, driver loft. even the adjustments on here. Guys, the brands are working really, really hard to bring you the best drivers possible.
I'm just going to stop you there, James. Everyone's being put off. That is a golf ball in the end of that. I don't know who's put that in there. But James, back to
very random. The brands are working really, really hard, the R&D departments, to make sure you can play the best golf possible. Yes, it's not cheap, but so many people are spending the money, yet not buying the correct driver, guys. Make sure you do spend your money on the right driver, go and get fitted. Make sure you try them all as well. Just because you are a Titleist fan doesn't necessarily mean a Titleist driver is best for you. Same with Callaway, TaylorMade, Mizuno, and all the rest. I got fitted for this driver last year and really, really enjoyed it. I can see Chris is looking really worried there because I nearly hit him last time when he was stood there. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, smash that subscribe button here at Get Good at Golf, because we want to help you get good at golf one day at a time. See you tomorrow.